Yeah, I think the team vibe's in a good place. I think, of course, like our performances in league have been helping that out. Anytime you win games, especially win games back to back, getting road wins, that helps a lot with just like the culture and guys, kind of buying into what we're doing. And it's a long year, so we want to focus on doing well in the beginning because we just want to make sure we keep getting points and keep staying at the top of the table. So as of right now, it's good, and I think it's going to continue to be good.
I want to ask a follow up, if you don't mind, about the defense. And um, as the only person who doesn't speak Spanish in the back, do you feel like, in your position, communication is a big deal, big part of your job? Is it more of a challenge? Is it more of a challenge like the language barrier? How do you do that? How do you navigate that from the back?
Yeah, of course, like the native language of most of the back line is Spanish. So it's something that I have to adapt to. And, there's ways in which I can adapt to it, like learning what words to use in what situations. Don't feel like I have to know the full language, but as long as I can get my message across in an efficient way, I think that's the most important thing.
Do you do it in Spanish? Like, have you learned Spanish
Yeah,
words?
like there's like keywords that I use, like
What are some of the
man
words?
on, like Tivan, uh,
Mia.
that's kind of like the most common one is like man on. Trying to think of other ones. Solo means like they're like alone. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm still working on it, but it's definitely like helps out when you can be. Um, you're not saying like a long sentence. It's more just
Right.
like a quick piece of communication that can help out.
Thank you.
Drake, I want to take you back a little bit because, all of a sudden you became a captain for this team, which I'm sure it's a huge accomplishment. But can you kind of take us through the conversations with how you took the opportunity of being a captain? I mean, this is a team with big names, after obviously Messi. There could be some other options, and yet they decided to go with you as a captain. Can you take us through that process?
Yeah, I remember the first time I captained was against the New York Red Bull last
Mm-hmm.
year. And I just saw the flag and the armband in my locker, and just kind of made me a little bit emotional. But I think it's just something as I think goalkeepers are natural leaders, and I think it's of course an honor to captain the team. And I think there's a lot of guys on our team who are fit for the job, and I think that's a huge advantage is because guys can step up in different games in different ways, and I'm glad that Tata sees me as one of those leaders in like the locker room and on like the field. So it's definitely something that I take pride in, and when I do get to wear the armband, I try and do my best and do what I can for my teammates.
Is your approach any different at all? Do you try to communicate a little bit more with your teammates? Does that change anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I'll do like the pregame talk in the locker room. That might be the only thing that changes. But again, I try and just, I try and lead the same way every single day, whether I'm wearing with the captain band or not. I think it's good to have a routine and be consistent. And maybe when you're wearing the captain band, you might feel a little bit more pressure, but I think it's good pressure, and it's puts you in a situation to grow and to lead, and helps me develop as like a player.
Drake, has it been difficult to you that Tata asked you to play out with your feet a lot, not just like throw the ball out? And he asked you to play with your feet and play with the defenders. Has that been difficult to adapt for you?
No, no. I mean, I think building out is a part of the game. Of course, there's some situations that are going to be more challenging than others, but it's the style of soccer we want to play. And, that's part of getting me being able to adapt to the style that the coach wants to play and me developing as a player and having all the tools I can to help my team win.
What are you expecting at New England? It's going to be kind of like Arrowhead, a huge football stadium, 64,000 or whatever. How do you think your team responds to those situations? And what are you expecting from that team? They've been struggling a lot this year.
Yeah, I think for us, we've played in, like you said, played in front of big crowds, and it's becoming more of a normal thing for us. And I think again, just anytime we play a team, whether it's home or away, there's an opportunity for us to get points. So I think the focus is on us. Of course, we have to do our work throughout the week to get ready for that. But I think going there and implementing our style and competing is kind of all we can ask for, and go for like 3 points.
You talk about Nations League. You won a trophy with the national team. Now you got Copa America. Is that something you are thinking about making that roster and fighting for a spot on the national team?
Yeah, so something like that is, I think the way I get called back in is just by being consistent and playing well here with like my team. So, I think it's kind of like that day by day approach to where if I just take care of business and do the best that I can, perform well throughout the season, then I'll get a call back. But again, it's in the future, so I'm not necessarily thinking about that. It's kind of what I can do day by day to help me get to that
Are
point.
you now in more communication with Greg Doctor and his staff than you were before, or it's the same?
It's kind of the same. Yeah, I mean, I've of course definitely built a relationship with them the more times I go to camp, which is a good thing. But again, it's not like I'm texting them every week like, "Hey, what's going on?" But there's definitely a feeling that when I go, it's not like I'm meeting them for like the first time. I feel a bit
You are
more.
one of the few MLS players in that roster. Does that make you like feel you're doing your job well and building up in this league?
Yeah, of course. I mean, anytime you can get a call into a national team, whether you're playing the MLS or overseas in one of the best leagues, I mean, I think it's a huge honor. So to be called up while playing the MLS is great. But again, I think it's just more important about how you perform and how you conduct yourself and what kind of teammate you are. And if you're playing at a level that the coaches see is fit for you to join the team, whether you're in the MLS or not, I think it's a good sign.
You have a unique perspective on the field, like staring at from between the posts. How have you seen players like Busquets, Jordi Alba, Suarez, and Messi impact players during the game, giving them comments and really developing these academy players during the actual game?
Yeah, there's definitely like a high level of communication going on, whether it's vocal or just like positionally. I think they understand, where to be at the right time. So when you have players who are in the midfield or in our back line or, getting subbed on, I think it's important for them to be aware of where experienced players are, but also just recognizing like the flow of the game, what spaces they can infiltrate and what runs they can make. And I think the communication from them is super important for us.
Drake, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. This is your 87 game with Inter Miami, and you're gonna be the top player presence in our team.
I didn't know that.
That's what I'm here.
I was again. I take it game by game. Of course, this is my third season. I guess getting minutes on the MLS level, and of course I played in some like Open Cups and Leagues Cups, so that might have added to the tally. But that's I guess some cool news to having been with the club for I guess since the inaugural season into now playing in my 87th game. Shows you how time flies.
So you are our record man now for the Inter Miami. It's a different, and it was your birthday this week also, right?
Oh, October.
Oh, October.
Yeah.
That's 1 out of 2. I get it right.
Drake, I want to ask you about if can you talk about the integration of Cello and now Franco Negri coming back? I mean, you have a good view of what they're doing. Can you just talk about what each of them brings on those two sides?
Yeah, well, I think both of them are extremely hard workers. I think they're very aggressive. Their style of play, their mentality is to really go for it. And I think we need that on like the field as very competitive players, especially out wide. We want to sometimes get our fullbacks high and wide. Sometimes we need them to defend, and they definitely have the capacity to do both to do both of that.
Can I just ask, over the time that you played, have you noticed what change have you noticed with the support? How have you noticed the support?
Yeah,
page?
it's definitely interesting because the inaugural season was essentially the pandemic year. So I remember when we were playing games and there was nobody in the stadium, and then to go from that and each year to build up to a point where, we're selling out games is massive. And I think the support's always been there. It's just a matter of the club and the sport growing more in like the US. So it's been cool to experience, of course, to even go from a perspective of not starting and then to being on the field. I think, whenever, even like for example, when I run out for warm-ups, we get like a round of applause, so it's like, pretty cool just to get the support there even before like the game starts. And that's a hat off to our fans and the community for supporting us even through the good times and the bad, because that's how pro sports is. There's ups and downs. So whether they're here for us for a loss or here for us lifting our trophy, they've been great.
You guys?